To see everybody out here, young and old, people from all kinds of places, it's really, really nice to see. So give a hand for yourself. And before we start, I'd like to hold a moment of silence or silent prayer just for the people that have been killed in Palestine. So if you would join me just in a moment of silence. Thank you. For the last 2 months, the Israeli government and their long-time allies have tried their best to shame and demonize those of us who choose to come out and stand for justice, for truth, and for humanity. For the last 2 months, politicians have attempted to silence academics, journalists, musicians, and even our students. This censorship is a clear attempt to silence and intimidate anyone who would raise their voice and take a stand against the ongoing oppression and genocide in Palestine. For the last 75 years, Palestinians have been subject to displacement and death. Most people alive today will only know a Palestine that's been occupied. Not only have they been deprived of their human rights and their lands, but they've also been deprived of their voices. Not only have their homes been stolen, but they've also been robbed of their dignity, freedom, and agency. But we, the global majority, have chosen not to be silenced. We have seen the indomitable spirit of the Palestinian people facing unimaginable suffering. We've seen mothers holding their babies wrapped in cloth. We've seen wives holding the shoes of their husbands because that's all they've got left. We've seen doctors identifying their own children while they're working to save others in their hospital. And we've all seen grandfathers holding their grandchildren, the lifeless bodies of their grandchildren, saying, "Wake up, soul of my soul."
Oh.
We are merely here. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Woo!
We are merely standing in solidarity with the oppressed, because what drives us is something greater than their war machinery or their bombs. What we have cannot be bought or sold. We do not march out of hate, as some people would have you believe. We believe in justice, equality, and peace for all people. This is why we march week in and week out, and we can't stop today. The brave and courageous Palestinians over the last 75 years have undergone exile, and despite all of the horrors and the deaths, they are still here. They will not be moved, and they refuse to be erased. The native Palestinians have a deeply rooted attachment to their land. The relationship can never be destroyed, no matter how many bombs or bullets are thrown in their direction. The cruel and total blockade by land, sea, and air means that it's difficult for aid to reach them, but our voices can lift them. When they see us marching in our thousands and in our millions on the streets of every major city around the world, they see that they are not alone. They hear us and they call us to keep marching, to keep protesting, to do whatever we can to put pressure on our leaders to bring about a lasting change and a lasting peace, in the hope that one day they will taste their freedom. Freedom from Zionism, freedom from violence and bloodshed, and to live in peace and dignity when one day the children of Palestine will wake up to the sweet sound of birds and laughter and not bombs.
Woo!
We know that a ceasefire now is the only moral stance to end the murder of innocent men, women, and children. But don't take my word for it. Let's just revisit what we've seen. Over 18,500 confirmed dead by the Gaza Ministry of Health. Over 7,500 of them children. And just to put that in perspective, the population of Hyacinth Green is 23,000. 1.9 million Gazans displaced. And the safe zone that's been designated by the IDF is a small strip of land called Al-Mawasi. It's just 3.3 square miles in area. And to put that in perspective, it's like asking the whole of the population of Nottingham, Birmingham and Manchester combined to gather in an area smaller than Woollerton. I don't have to tell you about the food shortages and the humanitarian aid that's been blocked, the electricity that's been shut off, the water that's been shut off, because the World Food Programme released a story just 4 days ago where one of the reporters, Hind Kodari, who was in Gaza during the humanitarian pause, stated, if death doesn't come from airstrikes, it will come from starvation. This is the situation that is happening right now. I don't have to tell you about the state of the hospitals, you've seen it. But don't take my word for it. The World Health Organization commented that after 9 weeks of war, 36 hospitals has been reduced to just 11, and even those are partially functioning. How many more Palestinians will it take? How many more Palestinian lives will it take before the people in power call for a meaningful intervention? You standing here today, you are definitive proof that the people united will never be defeated. But we can't stop at protests. For those who don't know, Friends of Al-Aqsa, they've been working tirelessly for the last 20 years for the rights of Palestinians. They want the return of the refugees to their homes and their lands as stipulated by the UN Resolution 194 and an end to the siege of Gaza. We want to see political change for Palestine. Friends of Al-Aqsa's work focuses on education, activism and lobbying. Campaign and BDS play a vital role. And if you're interested in finding out what you can do, the store's here, there's information and leaflets you can find out what activism you can take part in. I know it can be an impossible challenge. It might seem like we can't do anything. But we're living in unprecedented times and our response has to be unprecedented. When I look here and I see all the people that I've come across exercising your democratic right to protest, it's the most beautiful thing in my eyes. When I see people of all walks of life come together, stand united for justice, and all of you who attend these protests, who attend rallies and who raise their voices against injustice, you maintain a moral conscience. We know that it is our duty to be the voice of the voiceless. And we know that no one is free until everyone is free, especially and including the Palestinian people. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Adil. Now, Friends of Al-Aqsa in Nottingham is the latest group that has been formed, in Nottingham at least, to support the people of Palestine. So the stall is right here. Do have conversations with Adil and anyone else. And if you want to support, then look up the Friends of Al-Aqsa Instagram, social media, Twitter, X rather, and look out for upcoming events. Okay, right. Our next speaker is from the other co-host of today's event, the National Education Union, the trade union that has sent its strongest support for the people of Palestine. So please give a very warm welcome to Sheena Wheatley from the National Education Union.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'd just like to thank everybody for turning out today. It's, again, a really good show of strength and support for our Palestinian brothers and sisters. As educators, we have been dedicated to the freedom of the Palestinians for many, many years, and the horror that we see of well over 7,000 children now counted amongst the dead, and many, many more who won't be counted amongst the dead until they can be released from the rubble of the buildings that have crushed the life from them. It is unbelievably distressing to be unable to force the government to take the stand that it needs to take. Whilst they struggle apparently to get food, water, electricity, fuel into places of unbelievable need, they still are able to send arms, and they are still able to stand shoulder to shoulder with a genocide. I am absolutely heartened every time we're out and we are raising the voices for the freedom of the Palestinian people. To stand in front of some of these pictures of the lives that will never be fulfilled is the most heartbreaking circumstance that I can imagine as an educator. The hope that these demonstrations bring, the power of the voice of those of us who want ceasefire and freedom for Palestinians around the world, and the unbelievable uplift that you see when young people take this cause to the heart. There have been tens of demonstrations and schools walkouts across England. There have been protests at lunchtime from our young people, from young people in our primary schools up to our university students. We need to give them support. We need to be able to talk in schools about what our young people see on the television and hear in the world around them. The safest place for debate and discussion and the pursuit of peace and justice is with our young people. I look around this crowd today and I see so many youngsters. If you want to talk about these things in your school, if you want support and you want to be able to make collections for medical aid to Palestinians, or you want to be able to discuss and express how you are feeling, then please talk to your teachers. You will find that they will support you. I hope that these young people that I see here today will be the leaders of the future and carry the truth of the future and fight for the justice that our Palestinian brothers and sisters have so fought for, so deserved, and so inspiringly carried on to say that existence is resistance, and they have demonstrated that to us. They need us now. They need us to put pressure on our governments. Those of us in trade unions, those of us who are not in trade unions, most trade unions do have policy which supports the Palestinians. Make them fulfil those policies. Tell them that they must raise the flag of Palestine. We can do this. We can do this from all of these people here. We are the seeds of a better future, and we need to fight for it, and we need to keep on the streets, and we need to keep raising our voices. Thank you so much for inviting us, and we will continue to work as hard as we can for you.
Thank you very much once again to Sheena from the National Education Union, and I would just like to echo